Hey there! Welcome to day 2 of the Create Bootcamp. I started the bootcamp yesterday with talking about community. And I would love to know, as you are popping on here, if you watched day 1, if you heard about community, if you picked up anything new about what that could mean about building your community, any kind of takeaways, any kind of ahas, any kind of new things that you learned about community. Today is day 2, and I'm going to be talking about rest. Probably not the kind of rest that you might be thinking of as far as sleeping, but I am going to give you some tips today. I'm going to give you an exercise to do, not physical exercise, but like a technique to use to be able to rest at any time, any place. I'm going to give you some resources. I'm going to give you some books. So you probably want a notebook to write down some things, whether you're watching live or you're going to watch the replay, have something to write down and show up and, turn off distractions, turn off your phone so it's not ringing, and just make this a time where you're showing up and you are, just kind of being all in. Oh, I think I just turned off the comments there. Now I can see them. So there we go. So today is going to be all about rest. And before I get to rest, I gave a challenge yesterday. Let me know if you heard what the challenge was yesterday, if you participated in the challenge, and if you found that helpful. If how did you feel after you completed that challenge? Yesterday's challenge was to make 2 new connections, because with community, we talked a little bit about if you have a business, and really this could apply in a lot of different ways, but if you have a business, we talked about it's not about getting followers. It's not about building big numbers. While numbers matter and they do make a difference, and there is a place for, numbers and having a bigger audience to be able to see, have more people see your stuff, to build relationships with people and connections with people is how I've determined that I want to build my business. Hey there, Diana. I see you popping on there. It looks like Diana is popping on her business page. I am getting a little bit of lag. So I saw Diana's, but it took a second for it to connect and pull up. I see Amy popping on, and so she said she got a new friend. That's awesome. And that is one of the ways that I shared that I like to build my community on my business page, is I actually connect face-to-face, in person, online with a real person, not as my business page, but me as myself. And oh, Diana is making some eggplant parmesan. Well, now that sounds good. So that's one of the ways that I talked about, is I connect, person to person, not from my business page. I have followers come over and follow my business page, but intentionally what I'm trying to do is make connections. So I did make a couple of connections yesterday, added 2 new friends like Amy was talking about, started conversations with them, and I found out that one of them lives in the same city that I do. And she just like randomly, it sent a friend request. And then the other one also has adult children. And so I connected with both of them in different ways because of things that we had in common. And yesterday on the video, we made a list of all the different things that you could have in common with someone, and you could connect with someone. Like I talked about that I love pumpkin spice. So I may even connect at Starbucks if somebody's in line and they also order a pumpkin spice, right? Because then we automatically have that in common. So I gave a challenge yesterday to post inside of CBOB. CBOB is my Creative Business Owner Basics group. So this is my business page. This is my public storefront, if you will, of my business. The Creative Business Owner Basics is a group that I consider a department in my business. It is a specific group of people who are business owners, and I have that group to be able to help support them and offer resources and just serve them in that way specifically. So I gave the challenge to be able to post the two people, the two connections, the two people that you added to your community yesterday and the people that you hang around with. As of about 12:45, when I looked in that group, I searched the hashtag. Type in the comments if you remember what the hashtag was from yesterday that I asked you to put if you were participating in the challenge over there for the prize that I'm giving away today. So let me know in the comments while I take a drink here. If you remember the hashtag that I asked to be able to use. In a Facebook group, those hashtags are searchable. And if you click on that, it's actually a hyperlink and it allows you to see all of the posts in the group with that hashtag. So the hashtag, I think I have a delay. The hashtag that I asked to use yesterday was hashtag create, the word create, and then 612 because it was June 12th. So 612. As of about 12:45, I searched in the Facebook group and I don't know if it is not clickable, like it's not showing to me, or maybe if you left a space in between there. I don't know what the disconnect was, but it's not showing me any of those hashtags in that CBOB group for anybody participating in the challenge. So what I've decided to do is to go ahead and extend that challenge through tomorrow. And if you've already posted, you can post again. If you have not posted, you can put your 4 people that you've connected with, 2 from yesterday, 2 for today. And I will be drawing a name tomorrow for the day 1 because I couldn't pick a name from anyone today because it wouldn't let me see. And, I didn't want to possibly miss people if I was just scrolling through the feed. So yeah, Amy says that spaces won't connect. If you leave the spaces in there, it won't let you search those hashtags. So I'm going to pick tomorrow for the day 1 winner. And what I was doing as a challenge was I was going to audit your business page. I was going to give 3 tips from your business page of how you could create your business page to attract more connections. And that would be recorded. I'm going to do it on a Zoom, and you'll be able to have that video to be able to watch, and the winner will be able to help to optimize their business page. So, Amy says thanks for the extension. So yeah, one of the reasons that I wanted to do that, since I couldn't see the hashtags, I believe community, which is the C up there in the create word there, I believe that it's so important. And I just posted inside of the CBOG group earlier today about consistency. And consistency in doing this one thing of adding 2 new people to my community every day has been one of the most important things that I do in my business. It continues to help me to build my audience, to have new people to talk with, to have new people to serve, to have new people to be able to see what it is that I'm doing. So, hey there, Jamie. I see her little smiley face there. So that's awesome. If you did not see yesterday, I interviewed Jamie here on my business page at 4:00 in the afternoon. And I also have another interview today at 4:00. If you'd like to pop back on here, and I'm calling them success stories. And Jamie had an awesome story yesterday. shared a couple of things that I didn't know about her success with the practices that I'm talking about during this entire boot camp, as well as the Create course that she took. So thank you, Jamie, for coming on and allowing me to just hear more about your success and just the things that you've been using from the Create course. So that was awesome. So I have a question for you, for those of you who are watching, and if you come back on the replay, you can answer. But I have a question for you about if there is anything right now that you are feeling stuck with in your business. Is there anything that you're feeling overwhelmed about and it's keeping you from moving forward? Is there anything that you're feeling stress about and it's keeping you from doing what it is that you need to do? Is there anything really that's just holding you back from moving forward? Now, I know that some people that are showing up here might not have a business, but if there's any goal that you're working towards, anything that you know that you're meant to be doing, is there anything right now that's making you feel stressed, making you feel overwhelmed, like maybe you're spinning your wheels and you're just not getting anything done? I would love to know in the comments what that is. What is it that you feel like is keeping you stuck? There was definitely a couple of different times, several different times that I have experienced those things. Feeling stuck, feeling like I knew something needed to change, feeling like there were things in my business specifically, maybe that I needed to do differently. And a couple of those have been recently. Some of them were when I first started. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be things that keep you from feeling like, if that feeling of frustration, that feeling of being stuck. And one of the things that I am using these 6 practices for is to allow me to get past that, to move beyond that. And the practice of rest, and specifically, getting enough rest, but some of the other things that I'm going to teach to you today, it's about that. It's about going from being stuck to going forward. So Amy brought up something about scheduling posts, and that definitely, a couple of different things about that. It takes time, right? And so a lot of time, we feel like we always need more time. It takes time to create those posts. It takes time to think about those posts. I actually have a training that I just attended about just that thing. So Amy, I might be sharing a little bit more about that. So it doesn't have to do with rest. So I will share it at some other point probably, but I do have some thoughts on that. So I want to tell you about a time where I felt really stuck. And I was trying to think of a couple of different stories that I've had, maybe that you could relate to more. And I was trying to think of which story, because I have more than one. I have more than one story where I was feeling stuck and like I was feeling that I didn't know where to go. And I felt almost like disinterested. Like, I really think that that was the word that would have described. And I wanted to go back to the story that I talked a little bit about before. Hey there, Penny. I see Penny popping on there. It was how I felt before I started my business. And then as I kind of got going, there was a shift. And so before I started my business, I was not working in a creative business at all. And I was feeling very kind of apathetic about things. I was feeling like I was meant to do something else, but I didn't know what it was. And I was scared to take that step. And I didn't feel like I had the tools that I needed to be able to get to that next place. And we decided, my husband and I decided that we would just go ahead and we we made the decision that I would quit my job that was keeping me in a way stuck. It was keeping me in a way stuck to be able to do what it is that I'm doing now. So we decided to do that, and it was almost immediately because the very first day, so January 1st of 2020, which was the very first day that I was an entrepreneur, that I was working for myself, that I was starting my business, do you know what I did? I actually rested. Tell me if owning your own business, one of the reasons that you started doing that, that you wanted to do that, that you had this vision of you would have more freedom of your time, right? If you've ever worked for someone else, there's a time usually that you need to be at work, 9 to 5. When I was a teacher, it was 7 to 3. There were certain times when they, want you to be at work. And one of the benefits of working for yourself, and possibly one of the challenges, is that you don't have that time schedule. And that was something that I really wanted, was to have that freedom of time to be able to balance doing the things that I wanted to do, not missing out on, events and things like that, and having that freedom of time. So on January 1st, instead of getting to work, instead of, doing all the things and setting up my business page, or, whatever it is that I felt like I should be doing, I actually rested. And I took time to spend with family. I was able to go out to lunch, actually drive about an hour away. So it was more of a time commitment. Spent with my mom, with cousins, with aunts, and we just had a very nice lunch, and spent those couple of hours. And I remember, like, I can visualize sitting there and remembering what it felt like to know that I was making that choice to be able to be there and rest. And it wasn't automatic, it wasn't immediate that I started to feel a lot of those things shift. That feeling of being disinterested, apathetic, feeling just kind of like not myself. It wasn't immediate, but as I continued to do the things that I felt were more in alignment with who I was, that was when things started to shift. That was when I started to notice that I felt more myself. I felt excited about things. I felt like there was goals and things that I could work towards that meant, something to me, that were more in line with who I am. And as I kept practicing that, and that's why I call these 6 different parts that I'm teaching inside of the boot camp, that's why I call them practices, because it is a practice. And there are things that you can do in each one of these 6 different practices that will help to create the foundation that when you get stuck, if you are consistent and you're doing these practices, it will help you to get to someplace different. It will help you to move. It will help you to become unstuck. So that very first day, I rested. And I believe that rest is so much more important. Do you know that high performing people who have who are high performers, I guess that's the word that I want to use, they actually rest every 50 minutes. If that means getting up away from their desk and walking away, if that means, going for a walk outside, if that just means, taking a phone call for a few minutes, stepping away from working and taking that break, because resting is important. We can't just go, go, go. Tell me in the comments if you believe that working harder is what you need to be successful. Is it working harder that actually gets you success? There may be some truth to that, but it actually will. Amy says she's walking right now, so she's taking a break and she's listening to this video here, and she is resting by taking a walk. That's great. I know Amy's very consistent about her walks, and that is her time to kind of clear her head and to be able to rest. So that is awesome. So working harder may get you closer to your goals, may help you to reach whatever level of success you want and whatever it is that you've designed that to be, but it will lead to burnout. It will lead to a point where you won't be able to maintain that. I talked a little bit about that yesterday with community. You have to have it to a point where it's something that you can maintain. You want it to be something that you can sustain over a period of time. And you can do that hustle culture, that just keep working and working harder and harder. And there are so many stories about people who did that and they got to a point where they were just burned out and they left it all. Yeah. Jamie says, not harder, you want to work smarter. And that was one of the other times where I felt a little stuck. And that was actually the phrase that I use now in my membership, the Engagement Made Easy membership. And that's all about having posts like Amy was talking about, and having those to be able to schedule and helping business owners. So that is actually one of the phrases that I use in there. So I want to do this exercise, this technique with you, and I've taught it a couple of different times. I want to teach you the really, really quick way. And if you are driving or something like that, I don't want you to do this technique, but this is a super quick way that if you are feeling stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like your nervous system is just on high alert because you're just feeling anxious, overwhelmed, you're feeling scared, you're feeling, whatever that is, whether it's in your business or whatever it is. Here is a quick 3-step process that I learned this from Mel Robbins. Let me know if you follow Mel Robbins. I was watching her Instagram earlier and she had some great thoughts. She's always kind of speaking face to face on the camera and always kind of giving you a little high five at the end. And she always does she's always like blowing kisses to you and like giving you a high five at the end. So I love her thoughts that she has. But this was a technique where she gave this super simple way to help calm your nervous system. And really, that's what rest is about. It's helping you to calm an area. Resting as far as sleeping, you're calming down. Resting as far as taking breaks, you're taking, the break and kind of having that calm time away from your computer. So here is her quick, it probably does not even take longer than a minute. And what she says to do is to put your hands on your heart. So if you are able to do that right now, you can physically put your hands on your heart. And she says to repeat these 3 things. And somebody can type these in the comments here. With your hands on your heart, you say, I'm okay, I'm safe, and I'm loved. I'm okay, I'm safe, and I'm loved. At the time that you say that and you have your hands on your heart, there's something about having your hands on your heart that immediately helps you to calm down because of that physical activity of maybe even like the warmth of your hands. But those 3 phrases, I'm okay, I'm safe, and I'm loved. Those 3 phrases at the time that you say those are true. While you have your hands on your heart, you are okay. You are safe and you are loved. And if there's any time where you feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed, you feel like you are stuck in any way, saying that and helping to calm your nervous system could be the thing that helps you to think a little bit clearer, to be able to think about what the next thing is that you need to do. So, oh, Diana says that touching something really grounds you. So, yes, and I have heard of that grounding, have not really read too much about it, but I do know people who they physically will go outside barefoot and touch the ground, and that physically helps to ground them. That really relates to the idea of the word foundational that I keep using with these 6 different practices. So the practice of rest is a foundational grounding practice to be able to ground you. So I'm okay, I'm safe, and I'm loved. The other technique of doing this process in a little bit longer, it probably takes maybe like 3 minutes to do. And it is from Tony Robbins. So, oh, Amy says that she uses grounding. So maybe you could explain that just a little bit more. I just did like the short version that I know about going outside and being barefoot. And I definitely am a barefoot kind of person. Like, I've never really liked shoes. So in the wintertime when I have to wear like gym shoes and boots and that kind of thing, it's just, yeah, I would much rather go barefoot. So yeah, Amy, maybe you can tell us a little bit more because that's all that I really know about grounding. The longer exercise in kind of that idea of grounding yourself from Tony Robbins is very similar to what Mel Robbins talks about. So he says to put your hands on your heart, close your eyes. Something about closing your eyes, it turns off kind of that visual stimulation. Now I can't even say that word. Stimulation. Why am I not thinking that word? You're not. Oh my goodness. I had a problem with words yesterday. I don't know what now my dog's barking too. Stimulated. So maybe that's the right word. So be in the moment. That I know is very important there, Amy. So, and notice your surroundings. And that really is more along the lines of the Tony Robbins exercise, stimulation. Thank you, Penny. I don't know why I couldn't say that the right way. Stimulation. I don't know. The Tony Robbins one is to put your hands on your heart. You can close your eyes and you can think of whatever that is that's causing you stress. So kind of have that in your mind and notice how you're feeling. And with your hands on your heart and your eyes closed, you're going to take a couple of deep breaths. So that takes a little bit longer. You kind of breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, and think of a moment that you are grateful for. And a couple 6 weeks or so ago, when I was in Florida at the Create Retreat, I did this exercise multiple times in a couple of different ways. And I actually taught the ladies there and called it an anchor moment. And I would think of the things that I was grateful for. Just grateful for being there, grateful for being with those ladies. So think of a moment where you are just really grateful for that moment. And try to picture what was around at the time. Try to notice if there were any smells. The more that you can engage your 5 senses in remembering those moments, the better. So once you have that moment that you're grateful for, think of a moment that you are proud of, something that you did, something that you accomplished. Think of a moment where you were proud. And again, try to think of those 5 senses. Also, maybe think of a moment that was funny. You had fun. You were laughing, thinking about the people who were around you. And, if there were any smells, anything that you touched, like what was it about it that was funny, and thinking of those five senses. And when you have several of those moments, and Tony Robbins, I'm sure, has a video about this and goes into more detail about this. When you have those things that you've really remembered and tried to picture with your five senses, then go back to that stress, that thing that you feel like is keeping you stuck. And coming at that stress, that thing, from that feeling of appreciation, from that feeling of gratitude, and knowing that you're safe, you're okay, you're loved, those things, and remembering a time that was funny, and, just kind of coming at that problem with that filter of gratitude, sometimes that will get you moving in the right direction. It'll help you to filter that whatever it is that's stressing you out, whatever it is that is keeping you stuck, there is a way to figure out through it. At the beginning of my business, I read a book called Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo. Somebody can type that in the comments. It's one of the books that I recommend to anyone who is feeling stuck, because everything really is figureoutable. And if you were watching last week, I did a video on Wednesday where I was using StreamYard, was trying to use two devices, and I was experiencing a lot of echo, a lot of static, and I continued to remain on the video. I continued to try to figure it out. I continued to try the things that I knew and went through a series of how I could fix that. It took me about 20 minutes while I was live on the video, experiencing some echo the whole time, anytime I would talk, and actually one time some really bad echo, and some, because I tried to connect into another device and there was just some that echoing that was going on. But I continued to stay with it because everything is figureoutable. If you can calm your nervous system down a little bit, sometimes that's what it takes so that you're not reacting to something, and you can think clearer. You can think about whatever it is that, and new ways that you can approach something. So think about those, whether you just have the couple of, seconds to do the I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved, or you have a longer amount of time where you can go and you can, really go through that exercise of thinking of those moments. Those will be the things that could get you back to thinking clearer and making decisions based not on fear, stress, overwhelm, those things, but moving forward. So Diana says, granddaughter, oh, I remember seeing it. She got hit by the car. Oh my goodness. Oh, hugs are really good for that. You have had a lot of things going on the past couple of weeks here. Well, a couple of months, Diana. She's trying to do 4 lives per week. That's a lot. So I have a couple of things that I wanted to give you as resources. So I told you about the Everything is Figureoutable book. And sometimes it can be just a quick thought, a quick positive thing. The consistency statement that I had in the CBOB group earlier, sometimes those little things can be what will change you from being stuck. Hey there, Lori. I see Lori popping on. Lori just came back from a 3-week, that was hard to say, trip that she took there. So I have, Jamie said that she just finished the Everything is Figureoutable book. Oh, that's awesome. Well, let me tell you about a couple of other little resources, and then I will tell you the challenge that I have for today and what the prize is. And then I will share with you a little bit about what tomorrow is going to be about. So I have a couple of things that I use sometimes when I want to take just a short little break and I want to kind of inject something positive into, whatever it is that's going on. I found this little book at the Dollar Tree. So go for your dreams. I really like quotes and just things that will kind of, spark something in my brain to think a little bit differently. And this one just has little, little quotes in there and then just a space to be able to write what you're grateful for. This one says, not knowing when the dawn will come, I open every door. Well, that's kind of fun. That's Emily Dickinson. And there are just little quotes in here. And I like the little design of the flowers and things like that. I also have talked about these I am cards before, and they are just so pretty. I used to take one and I would just kind of pick one every day. So I am courageous, I am compassionate, I am confident, and they just have all of these really pretty backgrounds. So that's another way that I've just kind of taken a moment, and a positive quote like that sometimes is enough to be able to, kind of snap me out of wherever it is that I am. So I have a couple of different resources like that. Any kind of book, poetry, quotes, something like that that has some positive thoughts. That can be the little bit of rest that you need to take a break to be able to get you unstuck. So I have a challenge for you for tonight, and you can go back and do challenge number 1 because I couldn't find them in the group today. But the first thing that I want you to do is to write here on the video a takeaway. Something from this video, something that you learned, maybe something that was new that you have learned to be able to give you more rest. So put that in the video. The second thing is you do need to be in CBOB. I believe that everybody that showed up here live is in CBOB, which is my Creative Business Owner Basics group. That is where we're doing all of the challenges. That is where I'm checking for being able to give away the prizes that I'm doing during this entire boot camp. So inside of CBOB, I want you to use the hashtag create613 because it's June 13th. So hashtag create613, no spaces, you can't leave any spaces in there. And I would like for you to write down in a post the 5 ways that you can take a rest, that you like, that are something that you like to do to take a break. Amy mentioned that she was going for a walk, and that's something that she uses to take a break, to get some rest. What are 5 things that you enjoy, that you like doing, that give you, we're going to talk about energy tomorrow, maybe that give you energy that will help you to be unstuck. So not here on the video, but inside the CBOB group, put hashtag create613 so that I can find for day 2. And tomorrow I am going to pick 2 people. And what I am going to give to you is the emergency checklist that my mentor, Summer, who was actually one of the people who spoke virtually at the retreat a couple of weeks ago in May when we were in Florida for the Create Retreat. I'm going to give to you her emergency checklist that she developed, and it is the thing that I use to be able, when there's like an emergency, like being stuck or frustrated or overwhelmed or stressed, and the process that she goes through to be able to do that. That emergency checklist is one of the things that I teach about inside of the Create course. So this is something that you're going to get as a bonus ahead of time, that I'm pulling out of the Create course to give as a prize. So I'm going to pick 2 people tomorrow to get the emergency checklist from the people who put hashtag Create 613 and list the 5 different things that they do that they enjoy, that they that help them to take a break and to find some rest. And then if there are some people commenting inside of CBOB, I would just say that try to go encourage them. Try to go comment on 3 people's posts about maybe some of the things that they have put in there that are things that they like to do. Maybe you got some ideas yourself. Maybe there are some ideas in there that you hadn't thought of that would be able to give you rest too. So I'm going to be back on at 4 o'clock today with an interview, and I'm going to be interviewing one of the other people who have also taken the Create course. And tomorrow I'm going to be on at 1 o'clock talking all about energy. If you don't feel like you have enough energy, make sure you show up tomorrow. I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you some things that I practice. I'm going to give you some resources and all about finding and creating more energy. Because remember, if you heard this quote that I said yesterday, today and every day, I want you to make the decision that you can create a life you love by resting, because that's what we talked about today. So I'm going to see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, talking all about energy. Thanks for showing up today, everybody.